Hello, folks. This is Steve AB4L. It's almost 100 degrees outside. Fahrenheit. I want to show you what kind of crap I got that fills my brain. I want to show you what kind of crap the Google search engine comes up with. They're kind of similar. Now, nothing in this episode is a promotion, nor is it a recommendation. You know I go to slashdot.org, goodies for nerds like me. So I'm scrolling down, and I come to one that I know none of you would even bother to look at. Scientists resurrected an extinct animal frozen for 46,000 years in Siberia. Now, you know that when I was growing up, they used to talk about these mammoth elephants that they would find frozen in Siberia, and you could still eat them. Scientists have revived tiny animals called nematodes Now remember, this is mind-wandering, but brainstorming. Now, what word did we just come to that you don't know? Nematodes. Roundworms, animal. Nematodes, SpongeBob. Nematodes, definition. Why don't we just say soybeans? Soybean cyst nematode. Major pest in soybeans. They're in the soil, they get into the nitrogen nodules of soybean plants and kill the productivity. Soybean cyst nematode, UNL, University of Lincoln, Nebraska, Crop Watch. The soybeans, remember, I haven't seen this page before. What did I just say? The soybean cyst nematode, Heterodera glycines. Glycine is the genus name for soybeans. Is a plant parasitic roundworm. There are three main stages to the life cycle of the soybean system. The cycle starts in the spring with the temperature and moisture. The eggs are produced mostly inside the female body. So if you're an Aggie, you know what I'm talking about. I'm an Aggie, right? The microscopic animals were successfully awoken from a state of suspended animation after researchers found them in the permafrost or frozen soil that flanks Siberia's northern Kolyma River. That's actually just over from Alaska. A radiocarbon analysis revealed that they hail from a prehistoric era when Neanderthals. You know that we have some gene fragments from Neanderthals in us as human Homo sapiens. You know that, don't you? You know that, see, I was in Israel. You know that in the caves and the Carmel Mountains overlooking the city of Haifa on the Mediterranean, that they found hybrids between Neanderthal and Homo sapiens. Hybrids, what does that mean? That means they mated. But the Neanderthals somehow disappeared. A radiocarbon analysis revealed that they hailed from a prehistoric era when Neanderthals and dire wolves, I don't know what they are, still roamed the world, and that they belonged to a functionally extinct species called, and then they name it, previously unknown to science. The astonishing discovery is important for the understanding of evolutionary processes. Blah, 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 blah. Their evolution was now you understand that they've got stuff from 40,000 years ago that's alive. They've got stuff from 40,000 years ago that's alive. Their evolution was literally suspended for 40,000 years. This guy says, we are now comparing them to species from the same genus, which my team samples around the world, studying their genomes. We hope to understand a lot about how these populations became different in the last 40,000 years. Do you think that when we were mating with Neanderthals, we looked like we do today? Evolution. But I want to talk about the crap that's in my head. So I did took a link, not to the popular online article, but to the actual research paper that was published. A novel nematode species from the Siberian Permafrost shares adaptive mechanisms with cryptobiotic survival. I've never seen that word before, but I can. Crypto means hidden. Biotic means a living system. Survival would be in the context of these guys were frozen for 40,000 years. And they're still good if you know how to bring them back to moving around. Or they're not quite alive, but their flesh, if you can think of a little worm, is still good and not degraded. For cryptobiotic survival with C. elegans dower larva. Now what they're saying is they're geneticists, they're DNA geneticists. They're taking the DNA from these things that they got which were preserved in the permafrost for 40,000 years, intact, and they're chopping up their DNA and they're comparing it to a modern, this is where the crap is in my brain, a modern, widely recognized and used nematode genetic stock organism. Not like the one that infects soybeans. And you see they say C. elegans. Some organisms of nature have developed the ability to enter a state of suspended metabolism called cryptobiosis, where environmental conditions are unfavorable. Lon Chaney, the Mummy. Lon Chaney, The Mummy's Tomb, 1942 American horror film. And there's the mummy who has been preserved by the pharaohs, and he is the guardian of Princess Ananka, who's in a thousands of year-long sleep, and she wakes up. See, we've always been interested in that kind of stuff. Go read about what the movie's about. Whether it's worms or humans or mammoth elephants. Want to recreate mammoth elephants by taking the DNA from the permafrost remains and putting it into some other thing, take out the nucleus and put in the mammoth DNA, and there's somebody claiming they're close to doing it, and make a mammoth again. The state transition requires execution of a combination of genetic and biochemical pathways that enable the organism to survive for prolonged periods. And here we're talking about 46,000 years. Survival in extreme environments for prolonged periods is a challenge that only a few organisms are capable of. It's not well understood. They always say that's a standard scientific phrase. It's not well understood. We need more money to study it. Which molecular and biochemical pathways are utilized by such cryptobiotic organisms, and how long they might suspend life. Ananka did it for 2,000 years. The princess, the Egyptian princess, that the mummy, is he real? Is he animated by a devil spirit? How did he come alive? They've been wrapped up. He's a mummy in the movie. So here we show that the soil nematode we found suspended life. So they're saying it positive directly. Suspended life for 46,000 years in the site. So they got it back alive after 46,000 years. And you wonder, wait a minute. But once again, it says, through comparative analysis, we find that this organism and the model organism, C. elegans, which is what attracted me to even looking at this, utilize similar adaptive mechanisms to harsh environmental conditions for prolonged periods. So that's the permafrost where they got it. And the map up here shows that, humans walked by there on their way across the land bridge to come to North America and call themselves first Americans, even though Americas is an Italian Latin word. It's got nothing to do with the Asians that came over from. And there's the nematode. Only this is not the nematode. This picture, I'm almost certain, is not actually the picture of the one that they're talking about. This is C. elegans. Could you tell them apart? Could you tell whether it was C. elegans or it was the one they picked out of the permafrost by looking at the picture? And you see this 1, 2, 3, 4 things right here right in there? You see them right in here? This could be C. elegans because it was easier just to take a stock photo. I don't know if this is actually, it says general morphology of the female. The female is the only one that's important. Just like in spiders. The male is just this little thing that fertilizes, but other than that, when you talk about spiders, you're talking about the female. It's the same with these. How'd you like to have those in your gut? Oh, you mean there are diseases? I had one, Ascaris. Ascaris, small intestinal roundworms. Not quite a nematode, but close. Oh, I had those in Israel more than once. alternating with severe diarrhea and severe constipation. They bore through the lining of your stomach and they get into your bloodstream and then they go through into your lungs and then you cough them up. And that's how they land out in the ground. And that's their life's reproductive cycle. And land on the ground where people shit and then they use that for fertilizer and you go to the Arab market and you buy something there and that's how you get them. The Arab market in Jerusalem. You know, they talked about the animal market in China where the latest epidemic came from. That kind of dirty. Typical. That kind of dirty. See how my mind is wandering? See all these things that are crap in there? So we keep mentioning C. elegans. Now I want to amplify this. Can you see I just put C period, elegans, and then the words stock center. That's the search. Why would I do that? Because the research article refers to C. elegans as a model organism. Now you need a magnifying glass to manipulate these things on the Petri dish. How do I know that? Have I ever seen them? Oh, they must have updated the software. It's still recording. It didn't interrupt it. Oh, Shazam! Never mind. At one time in my long travels, I worked for a couple of years in Columbia, Missouri, which is the very heart of America, north, south, east, west. Yes, really. At Mizzou, University of Missouri at Columbia, not Columbia, New York, Columbia, Missouri. And I knew a gal who ran the C. elegans Genetic Stocks Center. That's how I know about the worm, the nematode. Aside from the fact that in the department where I was working, which was an agricultural department, there was a leading researcher for cis nematode of soybean. So I put in C. I'm showing you what kind of crap is in here. C. elegans Stock Center. Oh, it's got a website. We do not yet have the capacity to provide free replacements. Shipping continues to be slow and unreliable for us to absorb all the replacement costs. You know what it is? I bought stuff for fishing, and if you have some certain things shipped in the summer, they die in the mail. They prefer that you buy the stuff when it's cooler, like the spring or the winter. It's like trying to send ice cream to... Yeah, these things are frozen in dry ice. Oh! Can C. elegans be shipped in dry ice? That's a question. Can C. elegans be shipped in dry ice? I've never researched that. Dehydrated C. elegans stocks are resistant. After dehydration in the presence of a certain complex sugar or glycerol, C. elegans stocks can be frozen and thawed multiple times. Oh, that's like the one they found in Siberia that's been frozen for 46,000 years, and when they thawed it out, it's still alive. So it's one of the characteristics of nematodes, which explains why they were digging around in the dirt underneath the frozen stuff, looking for things like nematodes, which is an organism known to have the capacity to be frozen for long periods of time and be thawable and viable. And they found some that's 46,000 years old, which means they probably could get a Nobel Prize. Who knows? And the reason why they thought to even look for nematodes is because they know that's a characteristic of a model system nematode. I've never done that search before. So what they're saying is they have trouble shipping the stuff right now because it's 95 degrees everywhere. Strains obtained from the CGC, this genetic center, stock center, may not be redistributed outside the recipient's organization without our consent. See, everybody has conditions of use. Now, here's the deal. Why am I looking here? I just want to prove that I'm not full of bullshit. The C. elegans Genetics Center is supported by National Institutes of Health, Office of Research Infrastructure Programs. The CGC, that's their acronym for them, has been in operation since 1978, first at the University of Missouri, Columbia, and since 1992 at the University of Minnesota, Twin Cities. Anne Rugvi is the director. Eric Dahl is the curator. I knew the curator when the center was at Missouri. She was a nice gal. I liked her. Because I used to go over to the biological sciences department to take courses in genetics and stuff like that. You know, on the side when you're working in an ag department and a lot of the stuff is genetics. Oh, in the meantime, they've all coalesced together in the same department instead of being separate colleges. That's the way things go. Consolidation, consolidation, consolidation. Real estate, computers, academics, automobiles, everything. So I want to remind you of a video I made a long time ago. The search was for the title. Dog ate what in Siberia? Dog ate what in Siberia? And when I just did it without naming my YouTube channel, we want to see how good the YouTube search engine is. Now, I claim that it's total shit. Total, complete shit. 14,000-year-old dog ate woolly rhino as its last meal. Dog found eating dead Russian soldiers in Ukraine. My dog ate the entire peanut butter jar when I wasn't, and because it's got Siberian Husky in it, that's why they're showing this to me. You people out there are brain dead if this is the kind of stuff the search engine is bringing back. A dog's accidental close-up of a Siberian Husky dog eating food in a... So then I put, it's on my YouTube channel. Okay? And you see what else they try to do? They try to stick in these other YouTube channels. I'm going to have to check that one out there. I'm going to have to do this again, but go see what those channels are. Why are those in the search engines? I hope nobody's impersonating me. So what I did is I did the search like this. My dog ate silica gel. YouTube. What laboratory? It's dog shit. So it didn't come up with anything better. So what I did is I brought up my browser and I went to my playlist page and I went to the playlist called Israel. And you can see that 6 years ago, I published a video while I'm driving. Dove ate what in Siberia? When I was in Israel in the early 1970s, I was on a certain kibbutz working in what was called mispo, which is the forage stuff grass that you harvest for growing corn to make silage to feed the cows, mispo. And the person I worked with was a Norwegian immigrant from Norway. Yeah, no, I repeated myself. I'm not going to say his name, but his name was the same as a famous, I'm not going to say it anymore. And he was telling me some of the things he did when he was a younger person before he immigrated to Israel and settled on that kibbutz and got married. And one of the things he said he did is he was on an expedition, a research expedition to Siberia, and they found a frozen mammoth elephant in the permafrost, and they dug up part of it and they cut off some of it and they cooked it and he ate it. Not just him. How long ago did mammoth on Earth? I don't remember. Woolly mammoths roamed parts of Earth's northern hemisphere for at least 500,000 years. They were still in their heyday 20,000 years ago, but within 10,000 years they were reduced to isolated populations off the coasts of Siberia and Alaska, and by 4,000 years ago they were gone. So we can't pin it down, but we know that the mammoth was at least 4,000 years old meat. Have you ever known anybody that claimed they ate something that was 4,000 years old, at least? I have. So you see, I was just reading slashdot.org. Look at all the crap that's in here. I took you on this little wandering journey. Have you ever known anybody that's eaten stuff that was at least 4,000 years old? Have you ever known a person that was one of the founders of a genetic stock center that's mentioned as an important organism in current cutting edge genetic DNA research? Do you read stuff and it just jumps out like that every day? I'm not bragging. This is what happens to me every day. My life has been a series of adventures. Steve A.B. out just having fun with his wandering mind and brainstorming, saying see you in 73.